Good morning and good afternoon. Welcome to another episode of Before Coffee. It is the Friday News Dump. That's right, we're looking up all the news here right before the weekend, so you don't have to worry about what's going on while you're having a great and glorious weekend, whether it's sleeping all day, doing an activity, a hobby you've been waiting to do, or, I don't know, seeing some friends. No news, you can find out all the news here on Before Coffee, the father and daughter comprehensive news of Planet Earth podcast, where we look at the news 10 to 15 minutes before we started and we haven't had any caffeine. So, let's read out these headlines so we can get this news dump over with. Today on Before Coffee, how climate change is laying a deadly trap for Scotland's bumblebees. Police say 2 more lynxes are spotted in the Scottish Highlands.
Winter Storm Cora is going to pound the deep south.
Emma Raducanu badly bitten by ants on the eve of the Australian Open, and Novak Djokovic claimed he was poisoned after being detained during the Australian Open. Wow, lots of news coming out of tennis.
Pizzagate idiot is shot by police in North Carolina, and 200 years ago, the sun mysteriously turned blue. Scientists finally know why.
We're done. Owner of Walter White's house from Breaking Bad puts it on market for $4 million. And French-Swiss archaeology team discovers a stunning tomb of renowned wizard doctor in Egypt.
And it's National Houseplant Appreciation Day, so go and hug that ficus tree. It's January 10th, 2025 on Before Coffee.
Let's hug all of our plants today. I know I have a plenty that you can't see because my green screen, but they're all there. I have like 20 plants on my window that I love to just stare at. And they give me that nice clean air inside my house. So appreciate your house plants today, and don't forget to water it. Yeah,
I want to be a houseplant myself. I just want to be a houseplant. Just sit there all day and have people appreciate me.
And talk to you. Just, talk to your house plants, everyone. So that they can get that carbon dioxide. All right, let's talk about, speaking of fresh air, let's talk about climate change because it's my favorite topic. And we've got some interesting activity happening with Scotland's bumblebees. This is on the Scotsman. Some of Scotland's bumblebees were tricked into thinking spring had arrived over Christmas by the mild temperatures. As wildfires caused death and destruction in Los Angeles in the depths of winter, Scotland has experienced a subtler effect of rapidly changing climate. Scotland experienced its warmest Christmas Eve night on record, with temperatures at Kinloss remaining 12.1 degrees Celsius or above, surpassing the 10.6 Celsius record at Dunbray in 1971. Unfortunately, such balmy conditions were enough to convince some species that spring had arrived, an evolutionary adaptation that has stood the test of time for thousands of years, until recently, and that can be a deadly problem when cold snaps like the present one arrive. According to charity Bug Life, bumblebees were observed starting to build nests in Aberdeen over Christmas, when they should have been hibernating as flowers are scarce. Similar false starts as far as north of Thurso have been spotted in the last few years. As Californians grapple with their new reality, with Governor Gavin Newsom saying there's no fire season, it's fire year, Scotland's bees must hope they can evolve a new method of dating the arrival of spring before it's too late. Yes, we've also been seeing the similar kind of action with trees. There will be a time when trees think, hey, spring's here, and they start blooming. And then the first cold snap comes and kills all the trees, and then they basically never wake up for the whole year. Until like autumn, and they have no cycle. Their cycle is completely messed up because the trees are like, what the hell's going on? I thought it was springtime. What's going on? In more Scottish news, this is from Adam Robertson on the National Scotland. Police have said they have received reports of another 2 lynxes being spotted near Kingassy. Members of the public have been asked not to approach the animals, and officers are working with specially trained personnel to capture them. It comes after 2 lynxes were safely captured yesterday on Thursday, the 9th of January, after being spotted on the 8th of January on Wednesday. We received reports of another 2 lynxes being seen at Kingassy, Please do not approach the animals. We are working with partners to capture them safely. Inquiries are ongoing to establish the circumstances, including those connected with 2 lynx successfully captured already. In a statement from the police, they were told on Thursday.
God, another wild animal on Earth.
I think it's more like they're I don't know.
Dude.
Yeah, I have no idea. We were told on Thursday how 2 lynxes had been illegally released. I don't think they belong. That's the problem. They're not supposed to be in the Scottish Highlands.
Don't complain about too many rabbits. Just don't complain about too many rabbits if you're in Scotland, all right? Because, we're going to get rid of the lynxes. Well, yeah, that's why you get too many rabbits, man. Anyway.
It's been illegally released into the Highlands, were captured in a move which was condemned by First Minister John Swiney. The Highland Wildlife Park said it worked with Police Scotland to safely capture the animals before them taking them into quarantine facilities. Those animals will be transferred to Edinburgh Zoo, where expert veterinary teams will assess their health and welfare. Speaking in Holyrood on Thursday, Swiney said the release of the lynxes should not have happened and was an illegal act. They added, I am enormously grateful to everyone who had contributed to the safe capture of the lynx. They have been captured by the Royal Zoological Society of Scotland, RZSS, but I am aware of a number of other parties that assisted in the process, including officers of Police Scotland and gamekeepers locally. The chief executive of the RZSS, David Field, said, "We condemn the illegal release of these lynxes in the strongest possible terms. It was a highly irresponsible act. It was very unlikely they would have survived in the wild due to the lack of adequate preparation. Their abandonment was reckless to animals, public, and the community and nature." He said the cats, named by the charity as the Tilly Huntley 2 for now, appear to be in good health. Yeah, these lynxes don't belong here. They're being released in the winter time, which is not... You should release animals during spring or summer, not in the winter. Hey, go out there and figure out how to survive. You've been living in captivity this whole time. I'm sure you'll be fine. You totally know where the thing about animals is they know winter's coming and they look for a place that they can be. If you put them in the middle of winter, they don't know a place to be. They've never been there before. Naked and afraid.
Luckily, Scotland's loaded with rabbits. It's just completely just...
Okay, but they still don't have shelter. There. They still don't have shelter to live in. They're just tossed out there in the middle of nowhere. They have no idea where they are. They have no trail markings for them to follow so that they can actually hide from storms in wintertime.
I looked it up. Lynx are native to Britain and were driven to extinction 500 to 1,000 years ago. So, they kind of belong there.
Yeah, but not in the winter time.
I understand that part, but it's just how humans act. Like, oh my God, cats! How will they survive? What the fuck? They're cats. They're better equipped for survival than we are by far.
Yeah, I'm just saying. Anyway. I don't think they're freaking out that the lynx were released. Because they were released, they're freaking out that it's the middle of winter and you release them in the Highlands.
They might take down a sheep.
No, they're not crying about that either.
I know. They're worried about the lynx. I got it.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
It was a very responsible time.
That island needs more wildlife. It needs more predators.
I agree with you. I agree. They definitely they have an incredible large lack of actual diversity. That's been the problem with the UK for a while now. But there's my 2 stories coming out of Scotland. The bumblebees are confused and the lynxes have been saved. Please don't release animals in the middle of winter, even if the bumblebees are getting confused.
The bumblebees. There won't be no winter anymore.
No.
We'll take care of that soon. Okay. I guess it's my story that I interrupted yours. Which is the whole point of the show, right? Interrupting each other.
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah.
So that was it?
Yep.
Okay. Well, on to me, I guess. Winter Storm. This is from AP News. Jamie Stengel and Kendra LaFleur. Stengel. S-T-N-G-L-E. Stengel. And Kendria LaFleur. Winter storm plods into deep south, prompting states of emergency and school closures. A powerful winter storm that has dumped heavy snow and glazed roads with ice across most of Texas and Oklahoma lumbered eastwards into southern U.S. states overnight, prompting governors to declare states of emergency, shuttering schools across the region. There's a picture of a kid on an electric scooter going down the icy roads. Kind of cool. Arkansas Governor Sarah Sanders mobilized the National Guard to help stranded motorists. School was canceled Friday for millions of children across the wide tract of southern states, from Texas to Georgia and as far east as South Carolina. Some of the heaviest snowfalls expected Friday across the northern half of Arkansas and much of Tennessee, with totals of some parts of the states ranging from 6 to 9 inches. You know nobody's going to be able to drive in that in the South. I don't think anybody even has radials. With totals in some parts of these states ranging from, let's go there already. Further south and east into Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama, a wintry mix of sleet and freezing rain may travel treacherous. Hard to say. The storm dumped as much as 7 inches in some spots in central Oklahoma. Remember central Oklahoma, don't we?
Yeah.
And northern Texas before pushing into Arkansas. You don't remember Arkansas, but anyway. More than 4,500 flights were delayed and another 2,000 canceled on Thursday, with more delays and cancellations expected Friday. Do not travel if you're in any of these places. I have not seen any accidents, but I've seen a couple of people get stuck on the road and sliding around, says Charles Daniel, a truck driver hauling 48-foot trailer loaded with paint, auto parts, and other supplies through slick, slushy roads. Slick and slushy. They like these really thick alliterations. Slick and slushy. The roads in central Oklahoma and on Thursday. People do not need to be driving. The polar vortex of ultra-cold air usually spins around the North Pole, but it sometimes ventures south into the U.S., Europe, and Asia. Some experts say such events are happening more frequently, paradoxically, because of a warming world. A cold snap coincided with the rare January wildfires tearing through the Los Angeles area. That's weird. Paul Kirkwood, a National Weather Service meteorologist, said the storm that swept through Dallas area will create a swath of snow impacting parts of Mississippi, Georgia, Tennessee, Kentucky, North Carolina, and South Carolina. It's kind of repeating himself. Texas Governor Greg Abbott, who's an idiot, urged residents to avoid driving as possible. Roads could be dangerous, as 75,000 fans were expected Friday at the AT&T Stadium in Arlington for the College Football Championship semifinal between Texas and Ohio State in the Cotton Bowl. Well, Texas basically gets a home game. Isn't that cool for them? And it's going to snow. And once again, Texas, the entire state of Texas, does not own a snowplow. Hard to believe, but they're that fucking stupid.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, Southern discomfort is a headline here. The system was expected to push northeastward by Friday, with a heavy snow and freezing rain all the way to the Virginia and North Carolina coast. As much as 8 inches, or 20 centimeters, of snow could fall in parts of Georgia, North Carolina, Tennessee, and West Virginia through Saturday, the Weather Service said. I mean, West Virginia's got mountains. They get snow all the time. Georgia Governor Brian Kemp declared a state of emergency on Thursday as the northern half of the state girded for snow and ice beginning Friday morning. Weather Service forecasters warn snow and ice are likely to accumulate across metro Atlanta, making roadways treacherous and possibly causing power outages. Public school systems across metro Atlanta and North Georgia called off in-person classes on Friday, with more than 1 million students getting a snow day and being told to stay home and learn online. Way, yay! But you're still going to go to school, kids, because that online learning exists now. In Tennessee, Memphis Shelby County Schools, the largest district in the state with more than 100,000 students, closed all schools Friday, with Memphis forecasts to receive up to 8 inches of snow. Officials said the 2 warming centers are open 24 hours to provide shelter to people who escape the cold. Parts of South Carolina prepare for the first wintry weather in 3 years. The State Department of Transportation dusted off its brine and salt supply and began treating interstates with major highways from Columbia north to Thursday. School systems in those areas will either close early all day Friday or hold online learning days. In North Carolina, Governor Josh Stein declared a state of emergency in advance of the storm, which forecasters say could bring up to 3 inches of snow in many parts of the state, with higher amounts in mountain areas. Sleet and freezing rain were also likely. The approaching storm prompted the cancellation of public outdoor inauguration ceremony for Stein and other statewide elected officials in Raleigh on Saturday. Raleigh being the capital of North Carolina. And one last little thing here. Richmond, Virginia was under a boil water advisory as officials worked to restore water reservoir system, which was shut down Monday after a storm caused a power outage. Mayor Danny Avula said the city of more than 200,000 was distributing bottled water at 11 sites and delivering it to older residents and others unable to get those locations, officials said. So there's your story. I don't know if you dropped off or what the deal is, but...
What do you mean?
I don't know. You just went away and came back. So I don't know if I dropped off in the middle of it.
Nothing to report.
Oh, okay. Never mind then. Never mind.
All right.
Oh, that was my Facebook thing making a noise. That's
yeah. I sent you the link. All right.
Fine, that was on.
Okay, let's go to my next stories, which are about the Australian Open. That's right. It started up, I guess, this week, maybe even this weekend. Interesting behavior happening, like from Emma Raducanu. I apologize for saying her name incorrectly. I've never read her name before. This is on The Independent by Jamie Braidwood. Emma Raducanu has revealed she was badly bitten by ants ahead of the Australian Open in Melbourne, but refused to use an antiseptic spray over concerns surrounding recent anti-doping cases involving Jannik and Iga Swiatek. Raducanu said she was left with a swollen ankle and hand after the insect bite triggered an allergic reaction, but the former U.S. Open champion opted to tough it out because she didn't want to risk failing a drugs test. You have a lot of steroids in your system. Yeah, they're anti-allergens, but whatever. The tennis world was rocked last season after it emerged that the world number ones, Sinner and Swiatek, tested positive for banned substances. Swiatek accepted a 1-month ban after she was contaminated by a supplement to combat jet lag. By her supplement to combat jet lag. So she took a supplement to combat it, but it was contaminated with something that made her fail her drug test. While Sinner was cleared after he was contaminated by his physio during a massage. Both cases have led to players taking apprehensive approaches to additional supplements and medications, as Raducanu explained following her insect bites on the eve of the tournament in Australia. I would say all of us are probably quite sensitive to what we take on board and what we use, 22 said. Yesterday, for example, I got really badly bitten by ants, mosquitoes, and something. I'm allergic, I guess. They flared up and swelled up really a lot. Someone was like, giving me this antiseptic spray natural bites. I didn't want to take it. I didn't want to spray it. I was just like left there with my swollen ankle in hand. I was like, I'm just going to tough it out because I don't want to risk it. It's obviously a concern on our mind. We're all in the same boat. And I think it's just how we manage it as best as we can, the controllables. If something out of our control happens, then it's going to be a bit of a struggle to try and prove. Raducanu also declared herself ready to compete with the top players at the opening Grand Slam of the season after recovering from a back spasm that forced her to pull out of her scheduled warm-up tournament in Auckland last week. She has been handed a difficult draw against the 26th seed Ekaterina Alexandrova, who she has been due to play at Wimbledon last summer before the Russian pulled out. I've been feeling good, she said. I think the last 10 days I've had a positive block of training coming back out of the court. Adapting to the conditions here has been good for me. Now I feel good and I feel ready to give it my best here. It's a tricky draw, of course, being unseeded. You can play any top opponent. She's a player with a lot of experience, I guess. I'm coming in with the underdog mentality. She's been in this situation many more times than I have. So there's your news coming from the U.S. I guess the U.S. tennis.
That's pretty bad.
Player Raducanu with her swollen ankles from ant bites. Terrible, awful. In more Australian Open news, Novak Djokovic claimed he was poisoned when he was detained during the Australian Open. Poisoned. This is coming from Harry Lathamcoil, also on The Independent. The 25th Grand Slam champion was detained 3 years ago after admitting to making a false statement on a travel document ahead of the Australian Open. He was subsequently deported after his visa was cancelled, but spent time in a hotel in Melbourne where a complex legal saga played out. And on returning to Serbia, Djokovic had suggested that medical testing showed a high level of lead in his body, and with the 37-year-old believing that he must have ingested the metal in his food. I had some health issues, Djokovic revealed in an interview on GQ, and I realized that in that hotel in Melbourne, I was fed with some food that poisoned me. I had some discoveries when I came back to Serbia. I never told this to anybody publicly, but it was discovered that I was really high level of metal. A very high level of lead and mercury. Asked by the magazine if it was from food, the former world number one replied, "That's the only way." It was like the flu, just a simple flu, he added. But when it was days after the simple flu took me down so much, I had several times, and I had to do a toxicology test. Tournament in Australia was the 2 Grand Slams that Djokovic missed in 2022, having also been unable to compete at the US Open due to his decision to not have a COVID vaccine. He returned to Melbourne a year later to win his 10th title, though he had been handed a tough draw this year as he bids to surpass the major single title tally of Margaret Court and take the record outright. So he's back, and he's hoping not to get poisoned. He probably has a food tester now so that he doesn't get poisoned. That's crazy. He just had a bunch of lead and mercury. Yeah.
He probably just had a bad Vegemite sandwich.
I'm just saying, he had a toxicology report, and they said they found a lot of but you can get a high level of mercury from eating fish, because they have a lot of mercury in fish. So, I mean, I don't know where the lead is mysterious. I'm not exact. It could have been fish. Maybe I had too many fish.
Yeah.
Well, he was in Australia.
On his plates.
Yeah, maybe.
Weird, huh?
But there's your Australia Open news.
It's a conspiracy.
A bit wacky, swollen ankles from ants and poisoning attempts.
Good luck in Australia, I guess.
Yeah. On to your story.
Okay, so I don't know if you all remember Pizzagate and what the fallout from that was, but that was a 2016 shooting incident in D.C. Well, the Pizzagate gunman is now dead. This is a Pizzagate gunman killed by police in North Carolina after traffic stop, authorities say. That's right, this is from AP. A man who fired a gun inside a restaurant in the nation's capital after a fake online conspiracy theory called Pizzagate motivated him to do so nearly a decade ago was shot and killed by North Carolina police during a weekend traffic stop. Edgar Madison Welch was a passenger in a vehicle stopped by officers in Kannapolis on Saturday night, according to a Kannapolis Police Department news release. One of the officers recognized the car as the vehicle of someone who he had arrested and had outstanding warrant for a felony probation violation. Welch, police said. When the officers approached the vehicle to arrest Welch, police said the man pulled out a handgun and pointed it at one of the 2 officers. After he was instructed to drop the weapon, but then 2 officers shot Welch, authorities said. Emergency responders took Welch to the hospital and he died from his injuries 2 days later, according to the release. None of the officers, nor the driver or another passenger, were injured. In 2016, authorities said, Welch drove from North Carolina with an assault rifle to Comet Ping Pong Restaurant in Washington after believing an unfounded conspiracy theory that prominent Democrats were operating a child sex traffic ring out of a pizzeria. Ugh, man, people are fucking idiots. The fake theory, dubbed Pizzagate, began circulating online during the 2016 presidential election. The idiot, Welch, entered the restaurant armed, and as customers fled the scene, the idiot, Welch, shot at a locked closet inside. After realizing there were no children held captive inside the pizzeria, Welch peacefully surrendered. No one was injured. At the time, Comet Ping Pong's owner, James Alefantis, said the conspiracy theory and subsequent violence from it traumatized him and his staff. Well, no shit. How about that? Some idiot walks in with a gun and starts shooting. Welch later pled guilty to the interstate transportation of a firearm and ammunition and assault of a dangerous weapon in 2017. His judge, now Supreme Court Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson, subsequently sentenced him to 4 years in prison. 4 years?
He's a dangerous individual. Yeah.
A guy who uses a gun to solve his problems is not even a problem, not even a real problem. Only got 4 years. Please, come on, come on. I'm sorry, that's pathetic sentence. City of Kannapolis Communications Director Annette Privet Keller confirmed the man who died was the same one involved in the Pizzagate incident. The shooting death of Welch, a resident of Salisbury, is under review by the North Carolina State Bureau of Investigation, and officers who fired at him are on administrative leave per the department's protocol. All right. On to from shooting news to something that happened 200 years ago. This is from popularmechanics.com. Darren Orff. 200 years ago, the sun mysteriously turned blue. That's right.
Ooh.
In 1831, a massive volcanic eruption cooled Earth's atmosphere by 1 degree Celsius and even caused the sun to appear in varying shades of purple, green, and even blue due to excess sulfur dioxide in the atmosphere. Scientists have tried for years to find the volcanic culprit, and a new study comparing polar ice shards with samples from the Zavaritsky volcano in the Kuril Islands has found the exact match. The event is far from a historical outlier, so understanding these events could help coordinate a global response when the next catastrophic eruption occurs. Desolate weather. It has rained again all night and all morning as it has cold. Desolate weather. It has rained again all night and all morning. It is as cold as winter. There's already deep snow in the nearest hills. These were the words of German composer Felix Mendelssohn as he traveled through the Alps in 1831. However, there was only one problem. It was summer. In the summer of 1831, a volcano somewhere on Earth erupted, sending massive plumes of sulfur dioxide into the atmosphere, causing a global cooling and forcing our planet to play host to some wild climatic conditions that year. A global cooling of 1 degree Celsius led to crop failures and famines around the world, but perhaps the strangest events were a variety of reports of green, purple, and even blue-looking sun in August. At the time, scientists have known that the volcano was likely a culprit, but didn't know which one should shoulder the blame. Now, a new study from scientists at the University of St. Andrews in the UK says they've solved the mystery. Zavaritsky, a volcano in the Kuril Islands northwest of Japan, is to blame.
Oh, wow.
The study's lead author. That's right. The study's lead author, University of St. Andrews, Dr. William Hutchinson, says that a break in this unseasonably cold case came from thanks to advancements in technology that made the analysis more volcanic evidence possible. The results of the study were published in the Journal of Proceedings of the National Academy of Scientists, or PNAS. Only in recent years have we developed the ability to extract microscopic ash shards from polar ice cores and conduct detailed chemical analysis of them, Hutchinson explained in the press statement. These shards are incredibly minute, roughly 1/10 of the diameter of a human hair. After scientists in Russia and Japan sent samples collected decades ago from the remote volcano in the uninhabited Shimushir Island, Hutchinson and his colleagues compared the samples with the polar ash shards and found that Zavaritsky was an exact match. The moment in the lab when we analyzed the two ashes together, one from the volcano and one from the ice core, was a genuine eureka moment, Hutchinson said in a press statement. I couldn't believe the numbers were identical. After this, I spent a lot of time delving into the age and size of the eruption in Kuril records to truly convince myself that the match was real. The climate-altering eruption of the Zavaritsky volcano is far from a historical outlier. The famous eruption of Mount Tambora in 1815 caused a subsequent year without summer in the U.S. in 1816, with lakes and rivers being frozen as far northwestern Pennsylvania in July. In a more contemporary example, the eruption of Indonesia's Mount Pinatubo in 1991 caused the atmosphere 1 degree Celsius, cooled the atmosphere 1 degree Celsius, after pumping 15 million tons of sulfur dioxide into the atmosphere. So while the lingering volcanic mystery is solved, Hutchinson warns that learning as much as we can about these explosive events can help prepare the world for the next massive eruption and inevitably arrives. It is inevitable. Volcanoes aren't just sitting there going, we're just going to retire. They're going to blow, folks. And there's one just not too far from here, Mount Hood. You can see it on a clear day. Once you get on the freeway. There are so many volcanoes like this, which highlights how difficult it will be. Actually, we're not that far from Mount St. Helens either. There are so many volcanoes like this, which highlights how difficult it will be to predict when or where the next large magnitude eruption might occur, Hutchinson says in a press statement. As scientists and as a society, we need to consider how to coordinate an international response when the next large eruption, like the one in 1831, happens. There's your story. And that's it. There's your story about why there was a blue moon and, well, basically a blue sun.
Yeah.
Blue moon, blue sun, blue everything, but the sun turned blue. So 200 years ago. That's right. Well,
pretty cool.
Quite 200 years ago.
Oh, okay.
196 years ago. But there's
yeah, it makes sense that it was something in the atmosphere.
Years ago. Damn, I can't do math.
Neither can I.
94 years ago. I don't do math. Right
but,
on.
I mean, it makes sense that it was something in the atmosphere because, that's kind of what changes the color of a lot of things. Like if you see a bunch of red hues during the sunset, it's actually due to copper in the atmosphere. It's not anything to do with the sun, really. But yes, let's go on from blue moons to... Well, we were talking about the Pizzagate crazies, and let's talk about people who throw pizzas on roofs. This is coming from Michael's son on The Guardian. The modest family home in Albuquerque, which was used as the home of Walter White's Breaking Bad fame, has a price tag fit for a meth kingpin, but owner Joanne Quintana warns buyers to prepare for hundreds of visitors a day. The modest suburban home is officially on the market for a US dollar of $4 million, almost 10 times the median sale price in the neighborhood. The ranch-style house in Albuquerque, New Mexico has 4 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, and a backyard pool, which featured in the crucial scene in the show. The median price of a house in the same postcode is $221,000, according to real estate company Zillow. Homeowner Joanne Quintana said that the house's popularity amongst tourists who were fans of the acclaimed TV series had come at a cost of her family's quality of life. This was our family home from 1973, almost 52 years, she told local TV station KOB4. So we're going to walk away with just our memories. It's time to move on. We're done. There's no reason to fight anymore. The house was first scouted by the Breaking Bad crew in 2006. They introduced themselves and handed my mother a card and said, "We would like to use your house for a pilot," Quintana said. For 5 seasons of the show, which aired between 2008 and 2013, the exteriors and backyard of the house, though not interiors, were used extensively for the White, a chemistry teacher who turned to manufacturing methamphetamine after a cancer diagnosis. For more than a decade, the house has seen droves of fans visit, sometimes with intrusive consequences. Quintana said that an average of 300 cars come past the house each day. In 2015, Quintana's late mother, Fran Padilla, said that they had been besieged by visitors attempting to recreate a scene, here we go, from Breaking Bad, where White throws a pizza on the roof. We've had pizzas on our roof, we'd had pizzas on our driveway, pizzas until we're sick of looking at pizzas, Padilla told NPR. The same year, Breaking Bad creator Vince Gilligan issued a call to fans to stop bombarding the house. There is nothing original about throwing a pizza on a lady's roof, he said. I don't know, he just made it sound really cool suddenly. Telling me not to do it, I'm going to do it in spite of you, Vince. After an incident where one visitor left a package addressed to Walter White on her doorstep, Quintana and her siblings decided to erect more security. My brother said, "That's it, we're done. Fence is going up," Quintana told KOB4. "That's too close for comfort." The listing's high price reflects its likely future as a prized artifact or tourist destination instead of a family dwelling. "I hope they make it what they want, what the fans want," Quintana said. "They want a barbecue, or they want a B&B, they want a museum, they want access to it, go for it." There you go. She's fed up. Right. Stop throwing pizzas on her roofs. I'm out of here. Really sad, actually, that humans can't control themselves.
Yeah, it is kind of.
They should have built...
Throwing pizza on people's roofs.
What Albuquerque should have done is built like a house that looks exactly like it, right? And just made money off of it. That's what they should have done. Albuquerque probably got a lot of tourists. The tourist tax.
Hopefully they get $4 million for their house. That'd be cool.
Maybe they should have a bidding war. They should have put it on auction. Had a bidding war starting at $4 million.
I wonder if they have one of those plants. What was that plant he used? The lily of the valley?
Yeah. Don't think so.
Yeah. Poison a kid. Yeah.
I think you're legally allowed to own those. I don't know. Either way.
No, they're just plants. It would be illegal to own any plant.
In other news, let's talk about a wizard. That's right. This is a real story from Theo Ferrant on Euronews Culture. The remarkable discovery was made in Sakata, a burial site for a high-ranking official of ancient Egypt's Old Kingdom, known as a wizard doctor. In a spellbinding discovery, a French-Swiss archaeological team in Egypt, has discovered the tomb of a multi-talented wizard doctor who served the pharaohs approximately 4,000 years ago. Inscriptions on the tomb identify its owner as Tetenebefu, a celebrated physician during the reign of King Pepi II of the 6th dynasty, which spanned roughly from 2300 BC to 2100 BC. Long time ago. The inscription suggests that the Tetenebefu had held a complete series of titles, including Chief Doctor of the Palace, Priest, and Magician of the goddess Serket. The tomb is adorned with stunning carvings and vibrant artwork, including a beautifully painted stool and scenes of funerary offerings, the Egyptian Ministry of Tourism and Antiquities said in the statement. The team behind the archaeological mission, working in the southern section of the Sakata since 2022, located the tomb in a cluster of burial sites for senior statesmen and royal employees. The tomb had been almost completely ransacked before its discovery, and non-human remains were found, the leader of the French team. As a priest-magician of Serket, the goddess associated with protection against venomous creatures, Tetenebefu would have likely specialized in treating snake and scorpion bites. Unusually, his other roles include royal dentist, a title that is rarely seen in discoveries from Egypt. Yep, even they cared about their teeth. Sakata is a vast necropolis of the Egyptian capital, Memphis. It's a UNESCO World Heritage Site and is home to more than a dozen pyramids, including the famous Giza pyramids, as well as smaller pyramids at Abu Sir, Dashur, and Abu Riash. The incredible find adds to Sakata's legacy as one of Egypt's most significant archaeological sites, said the ministry. There we go, we found a wizard. That's where they've been all along, in Egypt. And he helped use his powers to cure poison bites. And give you some good set of teeth.
Wizard.
A wizard doctor, right. That's right. And that's my culture segment. On to this day in history.
Perhaps it was Merlin.
It was Merlin, the Egyptian
Merlin. Egyptian Merlin. This day in history, we're going back to 1861, not that far. Florida, on this day, Florida seceded from the Union in February 1861, joined the Confederacy. Good old Florida. Should have stayed gone. My opinion of Florida. It's like, okay, whatever. If you live there, fine. I don't know what you're doing, but whatever. 1901, the first major oil field in Texas was discovered near Beaumont. If you go to Beaumont, Texas, there's nothing but oil refineries, man. 1920, the League of Nations was established in Geneva. Didn't last. That's why we had World War II. 1924, American jazz drummer and percussionist Max Roach was born. So happy 101 to him. I don't think he's still around, but hell, it's still his birthday. In 1946, the first United Nations General Assembly met in London. They couldn't decide on a place to stay, so they were in London for the time being. 1946, radar signals bouncing off the moon were detected the very same day, 1946, for the first time. So he bounced radar off the moon, and it was not blue at the time, nor the sun wasn't blue either. In 1949, George Foreman was born. He became the oldest world heavyweight champion in 1994 at the age of, let's do the math here, 45. Was born in Marshall, Texas. George Foreman, known for having several sons named George. Yeah, he gave them all the same name, George. That's George for you. And of course, he got rich on the George Foreman grill. Hopefully, he's not getting sued for all the Teflon that's on the George Foreman grill. In 1971, Masterpiece Theater, later called Masterpiece, debuted on PBS. The first series aired was The First Churchills. The First Churchills. Sounds like a situation comedy, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
1984, the United States and the Vatican established diplomatic relations after a 117-year break. That seems weird. 1999, the first episode of The Sopranos aired on HBO, and the dramatic series, which starred James Gandolfini and Edie Falco, was later widely hailed as a classic. So, 1999, The Sopranos appeared on HBO. Premiered. 2016 was a sad day, and this day was David Bowie passed away. David Bowie passed away in New York City, transformed himself from a traditional pop crooner into a trend-setting international superstar best known for his metamorphic persona, abrupt shifts in musical genres, and status as a fashion icon. The first androgynous rock star, I would say. You weren't sure, is that a man or a woman? Featured event, 1776. Common Sense was published on this day in 1776. Common Sense, which isn't so common. Thomas Paine published Common Sense, a 50-page pamphlet that sold more than 500,000 copies within a few months and called for a war of independence that would become the American Revolution. Our feature biography, Dame Barbara Hepworth, British sculptor, born in 1903 on this day. Died May 20th in 1975 at the age of 72 in St. Ives, England. Having been born in Wakefield, England. Other birthdays today. Paul Henride, Australian-born actor, born in 1908. We did Max Roach, who was born in 1924. In 1938, Donald Knuth, American mathematician and computer scientist, was born. 1945, it's Rod Stewart is turning 80 today. That's right.
Happy
Sir Rodney Stewart, British
80, he said.
Singer-songwriter. Yeah, 1945 he was born. He's turning 80 today.
Turning 80 and headlining Glastonbury as well. So that's pretty cool. 80, headlining Glastonbury at 80.
We covered him yesterday, of course. One of the famous Stewarts is in a classic rock band, The Faces. Rod Stewart's birthday, 80 years old. Amazing. George Foreman, we already covered. And what day is it today? Besides Hug Your Plant Day, it is Save the Eagles Day. Not the band, not the rock band, not the football team. The actual bird. Save the Eagles. Save the Eagles Day. It's National Bittersweet Chocolate Day. So, bittersweet chocolate. That's the stuff you put in your chocolate chip cookies.
Mm-hmm.
National Cut Your Energy Costs Day. Cut your energy costs. Turn that light off you're not using. It's National Houseplant Appreciation Day. We already covered that. And it's National Oysters Rockefeller Day. If you like to cook your oysters, that's one way to do it. So those are your days. Those are your history. That's everything for today. January 10th, 2025 on Before Oysters Rockefeller and Bittersweet Chocolate.
Bittersweet chocolate.
We have two foods.
All right.
Two foods today.
Don't
mix them.
I'm not going to tell you what to eat. This has been Allison here from the Netherlands. Yeah, and yet another week with no international days of celebration from the UN. Because, I don't know, they just hate January, I guess. Next week is also empty. 2 weeks of just nothing to celebrate.
It's the anniversary of the first General Assembly of the UN. They should have had that.
Yeah, that's what we're. Happy UN Assembly anniversary, I guess. We will see you next week for Mucking Fun Day. We'll cover all the news that's happened over the weekend and on Monday, so you don't have to worry about it. Go take a nice leisurely time, not worrying about what weird, wacky, good, terrible things are happening. If you're not already subscribed to the Allie and Ross channel, please subscribe and turn on notifications so you know live and post video. Like this video and comment down below what you would do if you, I don't know.
The show will get better. I'm in temporary lodgings right now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's been pretty good compared to the Airbnb, to be fair. But
yeah, but I gotta whisper because there's people that get in at like 2 a.m. and they're sleeping right now.
Oh, okay.
They're out all night.
Well, that sounds like their problem.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Casino dwellers. Anyway.
We'll see you guys next week. And here is our mic drop moment.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just on that point about Visa and MasterCard being successful businesses, I think you've figured it out, haven't you? I mean, what's your profit margin, Ms. Kirkpatrick?
50%.
Where are you starting it at?
Circa 50%.
I'm watching the whole thing.
Slightly higher.
Okay.
It's higher than 50% profit margin?
Slightly higher than MasterCard, yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's incredible. 50%.
Yeah. You can hear what the senator or representative or whatever.
Walmart question, by the way.
Completely bewildered.
That's Josh Hawley.
What's Walmart's interchange?
He's kind of a dirtbag, but at least he's digging into this shit.
Yeah.
I don't have it with me today.
You don't have any idea whatsoever?
We run a business and make a lot of money. We have no idea what's going on. We just rake in the profits.
Negotiates their rates based on the business that they do with us.
Meaning they're big. They're really big. They're gigantic. So they get a better deal than Mr. Callahan or most small businesses in Missouri. Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah, Senator, we have volume discounts that we offer to some merchants. I suspect Walmart is one of them. And, I don't believe that it's commercially unreasonable to get an arrangement where in exchange for more volume, a merchant can qualify for lower rates?
Well, I'm sure it's not commercially unreasonable for Walmart. It's certainly in their financial interest and in yours. But I doubt it's in Mr. Callahan's financial interest. And my question to you, Mr. Callahan, is when you've got Walmart and other major competitors getting charged much less than you are, why in the world would you stick with these guys? I mean, why is it that small businesses continue to use Visa and MasterCard when you're getting charged?
They have no other choice.
It's in my opinion, it's a matter of convenience for the customer.
You got to take
customers matter
credit.
to our business.
Maybe is it
Yeah.
because that Visa and MasterCard are effectively monopolies? They control 80% of the market.
Certainly part of the
80% of the market.
Oh, you want to buy
I'm just
something? Well,
having a
sorry.
hard time understanding
You can't, because
Mr.
my small business
Patrick,
can't afford the
you
Visa and
have a
MasterCard
business
fees.
model. You're making
Yeah, not going to work.
50% profit margin. You are able to give the shaft to small businesses. Estimated cost
Give the
of
shaft.
businesses from these fees is $1.5 billion. That's with a B. $1 billion a year.
Just
Why aren't
fees.
all of these businesses running away from this model? Because they don't have a choice, because you control so much of the market. This is classic monopolistic behavior, and yet your testimony here today is you don't want any competition. You have 80% of the market, but you don't want any more competition. I'm having a hard time finding that position defensible, let alone sympathetic.
This is why they have to make debit cards
It's
a thing.
unbelievable the amount of money.
Bank-based
It's
debit cards,
unbelievable what
like
you're
here in the
charging
Netherlands,
small
right? We don't
businesses
have
and
a.
consumers, and yet your testimony is, please,
We don't have it
we
United
attached
States
to a
runs on
specific.
credit. That's why
Yeah,
we
that's
run
the
on
whole
Talk about
problem.
what you're doing to consumers who hold your cards. Last year, as I understand it, there were 726 million Visa and MasterCard.
Yeah, but credit cards didn't cause the inflation. It was price gouging in the first place.
Well, I think that's what the argument here is, that there's people making a ton of profits, 50% profit margins off of the people.
We're not the bank, so
But
we
this
don't have
credit
to
thing has
take
always
advantage.
existed.
We
This
also
isn't
don't
new.
have
This
that.
isn't new to the inflation.
Okay, you have no idea, Mr. Sheedy. Do you know?
I don't know.
Well, let me help you out. Let's have a look.
Everyone loves a
It's
graph.
$1.17 trillion. $1.17 trillion is what consumers.
Nothing's
now
scarier
owe
than seeing a
on
graph
your
like
credit
that.
card
Just straight
networks. I think you know
exponential
exactly
growth.
what your networks. Mr. Patrick.
Oh, Senator,
Credit
we're
cards
not
are-
the bank. We don't set the interchange.
I know.
We don't
but
set
you
the
benefit
rates.
from it, and you know. Do you know what it is? This is
we-
your business model.
We
Do you know?
don't collect
Do you know,
revenue
Mr.
from
Mr.
interest
Sheedy,
rates.
do you know?
I don't, Senator.
I mean, do either of you read the newspaper? Forbes magazine just estimated last week
Yeah,
that
it's
the
kind of insulting.
average credit card APR in your
No,
network
nobody
is
reads the newspaper.
29.75% average. 29%, let's call it. 20.
These guys are raking in money. They don't care about what's happening.
It's nearly doubled in the last 4 years.
That guy's thinking, I
That
got a
is
golf game later.
astounding.
Yeah.
She's thinking, I got to
Absolutely
bake
astounding.
cookies
And you
or
just
something.
testified a
I
second
don't
ago
know.
that you've got more than
I have to
50%
go
profit margin, and yet your
to the spa
testimony here
later.
today is you can't
Have to go-
possibly survive.
I need a
gotta go
facial.
throw a widow out of her house.
How can that be true?
Yeah, I
How
need a
can that be
facial.
true? You've got debt like we've never seen before in American history. Your profit margins are as higher than they've ever been. You have
Well, we're not
80%
responsible for any of that.
profit
It's the
margin,
banks.
Credit card interchange fees that we're talking about, and yet you couldn't survive if there's any competition. What am I missing?
Be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and notify buttons, and follow our other channels, Toxic Alley, History of Gravy, and Scratchy Old Records.